What's up, y'all? This NBA draft class is looking phenomenal. They've all had their rookie debuts, so I want to go through some of them and show you how good these rookies really are so far. Starting with VJ Edgecombe, who had the best debut versus Boston, where he had 34 points, 7 rebounds, shooting 50% with high pressure free throws at the end, where he missed the last two, but he did make the first two, and they still came out with a win. At the end of the game, it was just him and Maxey out there, where Nick Nurse couldn't take him out because it was him, Maxey, Barlow, who really had to win the game for them against Boston. Because Embiid only played 20 minutes, who I'm pretty sure he's on a minutes restriction, but he still wasn't good. In those 20 minutes, he had 4 points, shooting 11% with a negative 16 plus minus. And VJ Edgecombe is even a plus defender. He's not just an offensive guy. He really is good on the other side of the ball, too. I think VJ definitely has an all-star, maybe all-NBA season eventually. Next is Cooper Flagg, who hasn't been great so far in the regular season games. In preseason, he was pretty good, but as a number one overall pick, he hasn't been great. Versus the Spurs, he had a pretty rough game where I felt he was very hesitant to shoot, picking his shots, and just was a little too choosy with his shots. But he's also going against Wemby, who is the best shot blocker in the NBA. And I think he was amazing in preseason. He looked really promising as the Mavs' number one, number two guy. And then he eventually still ended that game with a double-double. So it wasn't a bad game. Just for my expectations, he didn't have an amazing game. And then game number 2 versus the Washington Wizards, he looked better. He wasn't so scared to shoot, which he's not having Wemby guard him anymore. He's not even having Alex Sarr guard him because he has Anthony Davis. But he still did look a lot better and a lot more confident in his shot. And obviously, Cooper Flagg is a great defender. He's known for that from college, too. He's an all-around guy. He plays both sides of the ball. And then he started showing number one overall flashes in that fourth quarter where he finally started to get hot, but eventually still ended in a loss. But I think Cooper Flagg will have an amazing season. And I don't think he'll continue this for the rest of the season. Next is Trey Johnson, who I am very high on. He is an amazing scorer. Versus the Bucks, he came off the bench and went 3 for 3 in 4 minutes, just not missing. And then versus the Mavs yesterday, he was amazing off the bench, complimenting Keyshawn George. We had 15 points, 16 minutes, shooting 60%. I think Trey Johnson also has an all-star season. Jeremiah Fears, who was a great guard with Jordan Poole. I think it was pretty weird selecting him 7th when he was a small guard and you didn't really know what you got from him. But he has great court awareness and IQ for his role and for a rookie in general. Versus the Spurs last night, he had 13 points, shooting 62%, and he had great shot selection as well as being great to play alongside Zion Williamson, Jordan Poole, and all they have in New Orleans right now. And also his teammate, Derek Queen. I think Derek Queen did great for his game against the Spurs, yes, last night. He had 15 points, 6 rebounds, shooting 54% with a +5 plus minus. And he held his own playing against Wemby. It's hard for a rookie to go in and play against one of the best players in the league right now. And he was needed for the Spurs double big, where Kornet was in, Wemby was in, and you needed Zion and a second big to defend that and to score on that. And then he played all OT minutes where Willie Green couldn't take him out because he was needed in there, and he did show up. Next is Dylan Harper. I think Dylan Harper has a great future ahead of him. I think playing on the Spurs with Wemby and also with the other guards they have in Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, I think it's going to be hard for Dylan Harper to really break out and look like a superstar. But I think playing in his role would be great for him. Playing a good backup to Castle, and he's great to play with Wemby when Castle comes out. And eventually De'Aaron Fox is going to come back, and I think he will great to complement them. I don't think he's going to be a starter on this team, but I think playing behind Castle, playing behind De'Aaron Fox, and playing with Wemby will really complement his game and show that he's a good bench role player. Next, Ryan Kalkbrenner. He was a 34th overall pick, and I think he's one of the best picks for this Charlotte Hornets team. He had a double-double in his NBA debut, which I wasn't expecting. and he's just a 7-1 big who allows LaMelo, Brandon Miller to shoot the ball. They want to shoot the ball, and they're not going to make all of them. So he had 5 offensive rebounds in his first game, and it's just a great big to complement LaMelo Ball, who, he's just going to crash the glass and will get those offensive rebounds. And Con Knipple, also from the Hornets. I really like Con Knipple's game. He's just a shooter. He was 3 for 4 from 3 in his debut. And that's just what he's supposed to do, is shoot the ball. And I think he did an amazing job at it in his NBA debut. Next is Cedric Coward from the Memphis Grizzlies. In his first game, he had 14 points, shooting 100% from the field, being 5 for 5 with a plus 24 plus minus. I think Cedric Coward has a really high ceiling in the league, playing with John Morant, with Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he has a lot to learn, and I think he will be great after he develops. And then game 2 versus the Heat, he had 16 points with 55%. I think he's just a quality bench piece for the Grizzlies right now, and I think he'll only get better. Honorable mentions who are guys I think will improve but haven't shown much this year. Number 1 is Ace Bailey. I really like Ace Bailey. I think he's just a great scorer, and on this Utah Jazz team, it seems like they haven't needed it so far, but I think eventually through the season he will show up and he will start to shoot a lot better. He had 20 in preseason with 61% and 25 in preseason with 68%. So I think once he gets in a rhythm and will get back to putting up 20 point per game numbers eventually for this Utah Jazz team. And Colin Murray-Boyles, who I liked in preseason, but he's been injured. So I think once he comes back to this Toronto Raptors team, he will show that he is another great player in this draft class. And obviously this whole video is a overreaction to the first 2 games of these rookies, but I've just been really excited to watch these rookies play and see where they fit in the real NBA regular season. So I think it just gives more to the league to see where all these rookies will end up, especially coming off last year where it was a weaker draft with not too many star players coming out. So I think with a good rookie class, the league will be a lot more interesting, seeing VJ Edgecombe go for 34, seeing Cooper Flagg eventually develop, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, all these guys really adding to the league and seeing what they can do and seeing where these teams go. I think the Philadelphia 76ers have a very high ceiling with Maxey and Edgecombe, and eventually Joel Embiid, Paul George. I think they could easily clinch a playoff spot in the East coming off a very down season last year. And Cooper Flagg with the Mavs. I think the Mavs have started out really bad this season, losing to the Spurs and Wemby, which isn't as bad of a loss, but losing to the Washington Wizards was really hard. I think the Mavs definitely have to show up. And I think with Cooper Flagg, with Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, I think the Mavs will come back, and it's coming off of Cooper Flagg starting to develop and really show flashes of what we all expect him to be. And even the Washington Wizards with Trey Johnson and the Utah Jazz with Ace Bailey. I think with these teams that aren't competing for much, I think you'll see great entertaining games, at least from these high-level scorers like Ace Bailey, like Trey Johnson. I think it's very interesting to see where these bottom feeder teams, or what they can do with these amazing scorers and these good rookies. All right, that's going to be it. Let me know what y'all think. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe.